Can't take oneself. You want more?
All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to SerenesouthernbelleVLOGS. Today, I'm chilling. It's a cloudy day, raining outside, and I know I stated like we are supposed to be vlogging daily, but you know, life happens. We have a new pet, and I have my studies and assignments and things to do. So sometimes I'm kind of lacking, but I'm gonna do better. So today I wanted to talk about something. I saw this video online of this older woman spitting on her caregiver, and so a social media influencer was asking like the public what would they do in this type of situation. So my response jokingly was that I would laugh, and I would you know, reinstate or reiterate, remind the person as to who I am and what I'm there to provide for them, and you know who I am as the caregiver. And if they did not stop, then I would contact their daughter or their primary caregiver. So I came across, and I'll show a clip of the video and what I'm talking about. I came across though this topic about appreciating cultural diversity, and it also tied in with something that I want to incorporate with a future business idea about generational blending. So in this particular article, it gives ways that you can appreciate cultural differences and create a dialogue with your patient. So I'm gonna give, I guess, some of the questions that you could use to learn about the cultural differences of your patient or of the caregiver, in a means to make the environment more inclusive, and then you get an understanding of each other and build a relationship builder. So one question you can start off with is like, where did your grandparents or great grandparents grow up? What are some of your family's favorite foods? Do you have recipes that have been handed down through generations? You know, do you currently eat those foods? Are there rituals you practice at mealtime? So what are some of the things that you do differently versus, like, you know, what we normally do in American society while eating? What are your family's important holidays and celebrations? Does your family have a favorite story that is told at gathering or, you know, during important occasions or holidays, etc.? What are some of the stories that have been passed down? Maybe they want to share some of the stories. What long-standing family traditions are still practiced in your family today? And what is the significance of, let's say they wear a certain clothing item every day, that they put on every day. Well, you may not be familiar with it because you come from a different cultural background. So you can just ask, you know, what's the significance of wearing this? Why do you wear this every day? What does this mean to you? And that could be a means of creating a dialogue and just learning, just having cultural awareness. So 5 ways, I'm going to give 5 tips on how to demonstrate cultural awareness. And then I'm going to jump back into our main topic, which is how to diffuse a tough situation between a caregiver and a client or patient. So, 5 tips to demonstrate cultural awareness. First, be aware of your own cultural background and how it influences your behaviors, your needs, and your biases. Because as an African American female, like, I don't understand how a lot of people think that people of color cannot be racist. Now, in my opinion, we can all have our own biasness, and if you are African American and just because you're African American and you feel like, oh, they're different from me because they are of a different skin tone, race, ethnicity, etc., to me, that is still racist. So in my eyes, you can still be a racist and be of color. I guess that's the correct term. So, second, be open. The second tip to demonstrate cultural awareness is to be open to learning about other cultures. 3, ask questions about the cultural background of your patient or client. And 4, adapt your caregiving style to match your client's cultural background. So, I'm going to give a brief story on that after number 5. And number 5, be genuine in your desire to honor the cultural background of others, even when the culture is different from your own. And that is something that takes emotional intelligence, and I'll do a video on that, and just empathy. Like, you can't fake being genuine about something. If you genuinely care about another person, then you genuinely want to respect their culture and their cultural backgrounds. So, back to number 4, adapting your caregiving style to match your client's cultural background. So, a story that I can give on that is several, because in my experience, I've worked with many people who are from different backgrounds other than my own, or just the normal American cultural background. So, for an example, I worked with a lady who was from Japan. She had Alzheimer's, and she was in an assisted living facility, and her child was basically like in a whole nother state, and so they used an agency. But the individuals working in the facility, like, they were only there to provide the meals for the people, so they outsourced the agency I was working with, long story short. And I came in and I started sitting with this lady in the evening times. And so, as we know, you know, if a person has Alzheimer's disease, they can exhibit sundowning and a lot of variety of other conditions like anxiety, etc. So, as I'm there with her, you must be mindful that people with Alzheimer's disease, they can revert back to things that they experienced in their childhood, meaning at certain times she could potentially forget how to speak English and only speak Japanese. So, and she was highly educated, very educated woman. She, we would sit down and discuss, like, she really ate cultural dishes that she still remembered how to make herself, or I don't know if they would prep it for her and like send it to her, but she could still put her meals together, and so she could still remember how to use like certain utensils and things that she used in her culture. And she really like taught me things and showed me things, and I just thought that was very phenomenal and interesting. But that goes back to, like, when you came into her home, she wanted you to take your shoes off. She was very particular about the cleanliness of her home, and, you know, like how when she used the bathroom, privacy as far as undressing and all of that. And that goes back to your caregiving style has to mimic your client's cultural background. So you have to be able to be flexible in different types of environments. So that was one environment. And then another environment was, I mean, I've had people from everywhere, but another environment I guess I could use is another female that I was taking care of, and she was from India, and I had to take my shoes off prior to even walking into the home. What else? Oh, and in her home, she did not want me to fix any of her food. Like, her food was already prepared by her children prior to them leaving. But she only wanted me in the home. Like, even with other people from the agencies, she did not want them in the home. And that's another thing. You have to respect who the patient has become accustomed to as their caregiver. Like, I personally feel like when I do my future endeavors, I want to pair people who get along well with each other, because it decreases these tough situations and having to diffuse situations when you already pair people who have not only similar characteristics, but if you pair people also who have signs of emotional intelligence. And that's something that I think psychological background should be incorporated in a lot of settings, but that's something that I think is very important. So, what I want to talk about, which is a major concern, is how to diffuse tough situations. So, as we saw in the video, some situations can be uncomfortable. Like, you can see that she's uncomfortable with the lady spitting on her, etc. Like, who wants to be spat on? So, an example given is a client may be resistant to having you in he or she's home because of your culture, or may be unwilling to look past your cultural differences. And that's another thing. You have to be mindful of seniors being of a different era from your own, so they may not be used to being around or in close proximity with someone of a different culture. So knowing how to diffuse a tough situation can help calm the person down, and it can help you to regain control with control of an emotional response. So some of the most important things to remember when diffusing hostility or rudeness that may occur towards yourself is being in control of your own emotions. And I can say that the woman in the video was in control of her own emotions, and that's a very skill that one must have in order to be an effective caregiver. And you have to be mindful of not taking things personally. So, here are 7 tips. Stay calm and have patience. Try to have an understanding, be empathetic of what could be possibly bothering your client, because it could be something other than you, or it could be something medically that's causing the agitation. It could be like a urinary tract infection, anything. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. It could be anxiety. It could be the condition that they possibly have. You also have to be able to speak softly. So your tone of voice can change the behavior within the person. So that can diffuse a situation within itself is how you talk, how you use your tone of voice. Okay, then number 4, you have to acknowledge what the client's issue is, even if you don't, even if you disagree with them. So, an example. What's a good example? So you restate the issue. So, Miss Such and Such, you're upset with me because you said I did not clean the baseboard correctly. Even though that's something you're not supposed to do. Or are you upset with me because I didn't take the trash out prior to fixing your evening meal? Like, it could be simple stuff. But you then suggest a solution. You have to come up with a solution to the problem in order to solve it. So just say, well, next time I will remember to take out the trash prior to cooking your meal, because I can tell that that's something that you would like for me to do, and I'll try to incorporate in our routine, and that itself should solve the problem. Okay, so you also have to allow a cooling off period. I think that's for everybody. So if you see somebody is upset, give them a chance to cool off before you try to come in, rush in with a solution. Okay, so let's go back to acknowledging the concern. You see that that's why they're upset. Okay, you restate that's why they're upset. You let them go on off, do whatever, because normally when a person is upset, they will walk out of the room, they will go and do something else. You let them cool down, and then when you guys come back together, or okay, it's time, I finished fixing your meal, they come back in to eat, or etc., whatever. When you guys are back in the vicinity together and you can tell that they have cooled off from the situation, then you can reinstate your solution. So you have to give people a cooling off period. And finally, if you think it can't be solved, then you need to notify a family member, the nurse, or somebody in a higher ranking than you are that's also helping you with this client, whether it's the provider, whether it's the family member, etc. If it can't be resolved, then you need to notify someone else, and maybe they can then resolve it, or maybe this pairing is not going to work. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just thought it was a meaningful topic, and as a gerontologist, as a former caregiver, because hey, at this point I don't know, I'm just calling myself a gerontologist. As a gerontologist, I think this would be a helpful video for a future caregiver, a nurse, that is dealing with patient care and proper patient care. So love you, babes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, share this video. Comment down below on your thoughts of what can diffuse a difficult situation, or how you have diffused a difficult situation between a patient or a client. And also, what are your cultural background experiences or your cultural awareness with other cultures? Have you worked with people who are from different cultures than your own, and what is something that you've learned. So love you, babes. Bye.